welcome to The Rundown. I'm your host, Captivating Christian, and here are some of your top stories for today, the 25th of January. Here's what executive orders President Joe Biden will take this week. And Austin confirmed as the first Black Defense Secretary. Austin's nomination was appointed despite concerns among Democrats as well as Republicans about appointing a recently retired general. And insurrectionist senators are co-conspirators and should not sit in judgment of Trump's trial. And state Republicans push for new voting restrictions after Trump's loss. Georgia is at the center of all of this yet again, with the state Republicans discussing voter ID changes and other new policies after Biden won the state. And some updates in the case of Quawan Bobby Charles. Toxicology report sheds new light on the teen's mysterious death, lawyers say. Let's get to the news. Joe Biden will spend his second week of his presidency in pretty much the same way he spent the first week, signing a slew of executive orders intended to roll back certain Trump administration policies while implementing his own. This week, Biden's focus is on immigration, healthcare, climate change, and other areas. On Monday, which would be Buy America Day, Biden is expected to sign an executive order that directs agencies to strengthen requirements so that they can acquire goods and services from American businesses and workers. During his campaign, he pledged to make a $400 billion investment during his first term in federal purchases of products made by American workers. On Tuesday, it's Equality Day. Tuesday, Biden will sign a broad range of executive orders related to equity. The president is likely to establish a policy commission and reinstate the Obama-era rules on the transfer of military-style equipment to local law enforcement. He is also expected to sign an executive order directing the Department of Justice to improve prison conditions and begin to eliminate the use of private prisons. Other executive orders are lined up for Tuesday, including a moratorium on directing agencies to strengthen engagement with Native American tribes, and also the Department of Housing and Urban Development to promote equality in housing. On Wednesday is climate change. Biden announced on Wednesday his plan for the U.S. to host leadership summits to take place on Earth Day as one of the multiple actions aimed at addressing the climate crisis. Thursday, it is Healthcare Day. On Thursday, Biden will take a highly anticipated action among pro-choice advocates in the so-called Mexico City policy, which banned the use of U.S. funding for foreign organizations to provide or promote abortions. The policy, described as a global gag rule by reproductive health advocates, was first instated by President Ronald Reagan and has been repeatedly rescinded by Democratic presidents and reinstated by Republican presidents in recent years. Biden will also order a review of the Trump administration controversial changes to the Title X family planning program, which requires family planning providers participating in a program to stop providing or promoting abortions to remain eligible for funds. The president is also slated to sign an executive order aimed at strengthening Medicaid and initiating the open enrollment period under the Affordable Care Act. And Friday is Immigration Day. Biden will build some of his immigration-related actions he took on his first day in office with a few additional executive orders to be signed on Friday. The president, according to the memo obtained by The Hill, is likely to sign the executive order related to a regional immigration and border processing that would rescind Trump's administration policies around the asylum system and direct creation of strategies to address the root causes of immigration from Central America. Biden will also sign an order directing immediate review of the public charge rule and other actions to remove barriers and restore trust in the legal immigration system, including providing naturalization processes. The Senate on Friday confirmed Lloyd Austin to be the new defense secretary, making the retired Army general the first black person to run the Pentagon. Austin's nomination was approved in the 93-2 blowout despite concerns among Democrats and Republicans about appointing another recently retired general to lead the Defense Department. Austin arrived at the Pentagon just after noon on Friday and was sworn in. An official swearing in will take place next week at the White House. The new defense secretary's first day is tightly scheduled, starting with meetings with the deputy secretary and one of the few holdovers from the last administration, who filled in as the acting secretary while Austin awaited confirmation. Austin is also set to chair the coronavirus briefing with the Pentagon leaders and speak to NATO Secretary General as well. The confirmation vote came just the day after the House and Senate approved a waiver to allow Austin to serve. Austin, who is retired from the military back in 2016, fell short of the legal requirement that Army officers are to be out of uniform for at least 7 years to serve as defense secretaries. Austin, former command of the U.S. forces in the Middle East, and his second four-star general to be granted a waiver in 4 years. Congress also passed an exception for the former President Donald Trump's first Pentagon chief, who's retired Marine General Jim Mattis. On Friday evening, the Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer announced that opening arguments in the Senate impeachment trial of Donald Trump over the deadly Capitol insurrection will begin the week of February 8th. Names like Cruz and Hawley should go down in history next to the people like Benedict Arnold, Arizona Representative Ruben. Names like Cruz and Hawley should go down in history next to people like Benedict Arnold, Arizona Representative Ruben Gallego told the Business Insider. They are just traitors to the country and traitors to the Constitution. A group of 7 Democrats filed an ethics complaint on Thursday requesting an investigation into the 2 senators' role in inciting the deadly insurrection at the U.S. Capitol. Friday, Hawley attempted to defend his role, saying, "I never apologize for giving voice to millions of Missourians and Americans who have been concerned about the integrity of our elections. That's my job, and I will keep doing it. Republican legislators across the country are preparing a slew of new voting restrictions in wake of former President Donald Trump's defeat in Georgia, which will be the focal point of the GOP's push to change state election laws after Democrats narrowly took both the Senate seats and the presidency, which President Joe Biden carried the state by even smaller margins. But state Republicans in deep red states and battleground states alike are citing Trump's meritless claims of voter fraud back in 2020. And the declining trust in election integrity Trump helped drive as an excuse to tighten the access to polls. Some Republican officials have been blunt about their motivations. They don't believe they can win unless the rules are changed. The chair of the Texas Republican Party has called on legislators there to make election integrity the top legislative priority for 2021, calling other things for a reduction in the number of days of early voting. Trump's plan to remain involved in voting integrity efforts, keeping the issue at the top of the Republican mind. Vote Writers, which is a nonprofit group that helps prospective voters get an ID if they need one to cast a ballot, says that it is expecting a serious push for new voter ID laws in at least 5 states, while North Carolina could potentially implement new voter ID policies that have been held up. Voter ID laws are usually very popular among the general public. In 2018, a review poll found that 3/4 of Americans surveyed support laws requiring voters to present photo ID, but activists say that they are problematic for several disparaging groups of voters. They are students and other young people. They are communities of color. They are older adults who no longer drive, people with low income, people with disabilities. The former voter writers estimate that up to 25 million voting age Americans lack a government-issued photo ID. Hey, this is Captivating Christian here to remind you to tune in to Politics and Wellness every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Politics and Wellness every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. A new update on the story of Quan Bobby Charles. A new light has been shed on the mysterious death of Quan Bobby Charles, the 15-year-old Louisiana boy whose body was found face down in a sugarcane field, according to the lawyers of his family. Charles had been reported missing on October 30th. His remains were found on November 3rd, more than 20 miles away from his father's home, where he was last seen by relatives. The teen's death has been ruled a homicide, but the circumstances surrounding his drowning still remains unclear. An independent toxicology report obtained by the family's attorney showed small traces of marijuana and alcohol in Charles' system. An independent toxicology report obtained by the family's attorney shows a small trace of marijuana and alcohol in Charles's system, refuting alleged claims that he was high on hallucinogens at the time of his death, the lawyer said in a statement released this week. The toxicology report shows traces amounts of THC or ethanol, but no other chemicals, says the attorneys. This is likely proven that Quan's death was not the result of an accident or gross negligence, but intentional. Charles left his father's home without permission on October 30th. His family says that the surveillance video later released by the authorities appeared to show Charles getting into a car with a friend and a friend's mother that day. The woman and her son said Charles had walked off later that day. Officers have said they questioned the two, but no arrests have been made. Authorities also say that video surveillance obtained by investigators show that the teen walked alone in an area where his body was found. The family's attorneys say that Charles could not have drowned in the field. The water was only ankle deep without human intervention. In December, CBS This Morning reported obtained an exclusive audio in which the woman who picked up Charles at his father's house reportedly expressed regret for not quickly reporting his disappearance from the home. A recorded conversation was between a private investigator and the woman, the network says in a separate interview that the woman's 17-year-old son acknowledges smoking pot with Charles, according to CBS. A private autopsy commissioned by the family found that the teen likely drowned, in keeping with the initial findings of the local examiner's office. The cause of death was likely drowning, citing fluid found in the boy's lung. Damage to Charles's face, which appeared to be partly eaten away, did not occur before his death and was probably caused by some sort of animal activity. To be clear, yes, the mother of the teenage boy that picked up Quan Bobby Charles has not been arrested at all in connection to this case. So it remains to be seen, one, why this 14, 15-year-old boy was hanging out with a 17-year-old and his 37-year-old mother, but why the mother nor the son have been charged at this point, being that, it obviously shows that there is some sort of homicide, and the only two that would know about the actual incident in this homicide would be the mother and son who picked that boy up. So this will be a very interesting story. Any new details that come about, I will be sure to let you all know. Until then, have a great afternoon. And be sure to join Jay Wilson, Rebel Sun, The Official King Payne, Conscious TV, and Captivating Christian this and every Thursday at 6:45 Central Standard Time, 7:45 Eastern Standard Time for the Gentleman's Panel. Once again, thank you for watching CCN Midday News. Hope you enjoyed. Please like, share, and subscribe. Also hit that notification button so you will never miss another news update. Have a great day. Peace.